Indigenous architecture has long been studied and excavated, and for good reason. The structures are a footprint of what their societies were like. They've withstood years of being subjected to the environment and human interference. They remain so well preserved, almost stood still in time. We're able to study these ancient societies through their remnants. Their existence doesn't just echo through the remains, but also in modern architecture. The longevity of indigenous architecture is due in part to the resources used to construct it. The Tiwanaku Incan stone statues were erected in the pre-Columbian era. The Inca would build their structures out of granite and limestone. Tiwanaku is made of gigantic rectangular blocks of granite that have been evenly polished and tightly pieced together. The Inca accomplished these feats without the use of metal tools. In fact, there has been no evidence found that suggests the kind of construction mechanism they used. The city of Chan Chan in Peru is truly a marvel of human and indigenous ingenuity. It's a city made of adobe. Adobe is a mix of earth, water, straw, and other organic material like sand and clay. This massive city was constructed from natural material and stands as it did when it was inhabited. The methods of construction employed at Chan Chan would remain undiscovered to Europeans for years. Their ability to create intricate and immense structures without a written language to aid in planning is still a mystery. They employed the use of irrigation for their sustenance long before others did. One of the most studied and appreciated aspects of indigenous design is its intricacy. The use of geometric shapes expresses an understanding of mathematics and planning. South America's indigenous populations are well recognized for their ability to track the planets and time. The way in which they built their structures reflects this. For example, at the Temple of the Sun passes through certain windows according to astrological events like the winter solstice. The ruins of ancient societies are not their only remnants. Indigenous design has inspired the work of many prominent figures in the architectural world. 19th century American architect Frank Lloyd Wright was heavily influenced by Mexican Maya design elements. His Laura Gale house has flat roofs that reflect those of Mayan buildings. Wright mimicked the use of rectangular shapes the Mayans are characterized by. Wright's Unity Temple is a product of Mayan influence in architecture. Indigenous architects are paving ways and continuing the legacy of their ancestors. Canadian Métis architect and academic David Fortin said in an interview for Azure magazine, "When you talk about Indigenous ways of thinking, about interconnectedness and sacredness, that starts to get to the core of what Indigenous architecture is." Indigenous achievement in architecture is a testament to human ingenuity and capabilities. They have withstood time and nature. They have withstood colonization. The product of the natural world and human intelligence is Indigenous architecture.